Let's talk about the future of love, lust, and listening. Relationships are changing very fast. And as a couples therapist, I see those changes entering my office every day. In fact, not too long ago, there was no such a field as couples therapy. But it became a central preoccupation for many therapists because the survival of the family today in the West depends only on the relative contentment of the couple. We no longer are being excommunicated, we have no full divorce laws, we have a growing economic independence of women. Nothing keeps the family together except the happiness of the couple. And yet couples these days are experiencing more pressure and more demands to do well, to be happy, to be perfect. And they go around continuously wondering if what they experience is unique to them, if other people are going through some of these things. Is this common? Themes that never were part of therapy: sexlessness, infidelity, polyamory, reverse gender roles, a completely new relationship between parents and children. If in the past we knew way too much about what was going on in a couple because we had porous walls in the village and we could hear every fight, today your friends, your dear friends, can divorce and you would be surprised because you didn't see it coming. And so the questions about how do we keep passion alive? When I lose my desire, can I ever get it back? If my partner betrays me, can I forgive him or her? Once trust is broken, can it be healed? These kinds of questions have become very much the private domain of couples, where we often don't know anything of what is going on in the antechamber of this private space. So I wanted to do something about that. And together with Audible and the Amazon team, we created a podcast that is called Where Should We Begin?, in which I wanted to invite people to come and share with me their stories, their worries, their concerns, their longings. And I wanted other people to actually be invited in to listen on these stories, but not just as voyeurs, but because we've always known that when we listen to the stories of others, we actually realize that we're standing in front of our own mirror. So let you hear. When you pick a partner, you pick a story. And often, you will be recruited for a play that you didn't audition for.
I told her I didn't know it was going to be like this, that once we had a child that I would be like downgraded, because it's now like all about the kids.
What's it like to be someone's disappointment for 20-something years?
It's hard.
Where Should We Begin with Esther Perel is an Audible original series, bringing you into the office of the iconic relationship therapist as she counsels real couples on modern love.
You can both tell me all kinds of things, and I can listen to each of you. I'm married to none of you, so it's very easy. But you need to reach each other.
These 10 anonymous couples have chosen to share their most intimate and unscripted conversations.
I was going in the bathroom and I was burying my face in a towel and biting it and howling and crying, frustrated.
Esther helps each couple put words to things they felt but didn't quite know how to say.
Sometimes I treat you poorly because I see him as an extension of...
Him is not here, you are here.
Because I see you as an extension of me.
Mm-hmm. Together, we're gonna aim for a different conversation, a different exchange.
Okay. So how do I do that?
I will try to help you.
So, where should we begin?
Where should we begin is often the first question that a therapist asks. And in this time where we often curate our wishful and often fantastical lives on social media, I wanted to begin by recreating a more honest and a more truthful conversations about the pitfalls of modern intimacy. If you think about friendship, it is not a relational system that has changed particularly. If you think about sibling relationships, it hasn't changed that much. If you think about how you experience going to the dentist, it hasn't changed that much. But if there is one relational system that has undergone an extreme makeover, it is the couple, the committed relationship or the marriage. So I wanted to open up that space and invite people into that most private room to listen in on the raw, intimate struggles of couples. There's been about 1,000 couples that have applied. They're not my own patients. And everybody wants to know, why do they want to do this? And part of it is because there is something about telling your story that gives it a meaning that goes beyond yourself if it can actually help somebody else. So how did we get there? How did this couple become one of the most overtaxed systems? You know, for most of history, marriage was primarily an economic enterprise. It was a pragmatic arrangement based on duty and obligations and very clearly divided gender roles. We lived in communities. The community gave us a sense of belonging, of continuity, of identity. We didn't have too much freedom, but we knew who we were and we knew our roots. And if we were married and there was no exit and you were miserable, you could always console yourself with the fact that you died younger. And this was the arrangement for quite a long time. And then we brought love to marriage. And not only did we bring love to marriage, but marriage became a romantic arrangement based on affection and trust. And a few things coalesce at the same time: the rise of individualism, the enshrinement of the self, romanticism, industrialization, and urbanization. And they collude to creating a situation in which we are much more free, but also a lot more alone. And as we are a lot more alone, our expectations begin to reach epic proportions. We still want what we wanted from traditional marriage. We still want companionship, security, children, respectability. But now I also want you to be my best friend and my trusted confidant and my passionate lover to boot. And if possible, I want you to be my equal co-parent and my intellectual equal and the person who inspires me in my career. And for the long haul. And the long haul keeps getting longer. So we want vastly contradictory ideals in our relationship. We want the same person to give us all the needs for stability, for predictability, for dependability, all the anchoring elements of our lives. And the same person we want to also give us awe and mystery and transcendence and risk. I want you to give me comfort and edge. I want you to give me novelty and surprise and continuity. And I want you to give me stability and change. And we think that reconciling these two fundamental sets of human needs in one relationship is a matter often just of technique rather than a profound existential dilemma. Passion has always existed, but it existed somewhere else, generally for men, because it was way too dangerous for women. But reconciling these two things into one and calling it a passionate marriage for most of history was an oxymoron, a contradiction in terms. So then we did more than that. Not only do we want all these things from our partner, but we also brought happiness down from the heaven. For most of history, happiness was for the afterlife. You suffered on earth, and if you did a good job, you could be rewarded afterwards. But now we want to be happy, and we not only have it as an option, but it has become a mandate. And relationships based on love, as much as the haplessly romantic hate to admit it, are much more fragile than pragmatic arrangements. because they actually subjugate us to the vagaries of the human heart and our vulnerability that comes with it. But we do take this happiness as a norm. And we did a few more things with sexuality. Sexuality was for procreation. We needed 8 children, so we had a motivation. But we moved the sexuality from procreative to recreative, and from a woman's marital duty to a model that is based on connection and pleasure. And we shifted sexuality from biology, from a part of our condition, we socialized it into a part of our identity. Sexuality is no longer something that you just do, it is a part of who you are. It is an expression of who you are, it is a property of the self that evolves to the course of your life. And it is rooted in desire. Today we have a sexual encounter with our partners, not because we have to, but because we want to. And hopefully you want it too, and with me, and at the same time, and with the same intensity. There's a lot of things that we need to want to have conditions be just perfect. But the model of desire has become the center. That rooting in desire, the idea that it is no longer something that I should, but something that I want to. And how do we keep that wanting going is one of the questions that many, many couples bring into the office. And because of this gradual aloneness, and because of this shifting model of desire, and because of this quest for happiness, one of the words that has transformed its meaning entirely is the concept of intimacy. We see the couple today as basically helping us to transcend the existential aloneness of lives of increased isolation. And intimacy used to be basically, I share the vicissitudes of everyday life with you. We milk the cows, we water the land, we raise the children, we weather the storms. But today, intimacy is into me, see. Today, I share my most prized assets with you, and that's not my herd and my cows, it's my feelings, my worries, my anxieties, my aspirations. And when I share them to you, I want you to look into my eyes, and no clicking away there. And I want you to reflect back to me. I want you to help me transcend that existential aloneness. Intimacy is into me, see. So much so, that we have this world that is in constant motion, in which we often uproot ourselves faster than we can repot a plant. And we have hundreds of virtual friends, but sometimes no one to ask to feed our cat. And we have a human imagination that has conjured up a new Olympus. And what is this new Olympus? It's what is called love as religion. And this is where we are going. We had the traditional marriage, we had the romantic marriage, and now we have the soulmate relationship, that quest for the one and only. In our secularized society, as Robert Johnson says, it is romantic love that has become the most intense energy system of the Western psyche. It is in romantic love that men and women seek transcendence, meaning, wholeness, ecstasy, all these things that used to be relegated to the realm of religion. When we seek a soulmate, are we not conflating the spiritual and the relational? And are we not asking the perfection from our partner and our earthly loves that we once used to seek in the sanctuary of the divine? What has happened when love becomes religion? And then we have added the other religion of the day, consumerism. You know, couples come today to the office and they talk about how they don't get their needs met and where is their ROI, and they want to hedge their bets. And this isn't the deal they signed up for, because like in the general economy, modern love has also shifted from a production model to an experience model. And now the quality of my relationship depends on the quality of my experience. What's a stable home and a good income and well-behaved children if I am bored? I want my relationship to inspire me. I want my relationship to transform me. This is what modern lovers seek. So if one day we used to stray because marriage failed to give us any love and passion, Today we stray because marriage fails to give us the love and passion that it promised. If it used to be that we married and had sex for the first time, today we marry and we have stopped having sex with others. If it used to be that monogamy was one person for life, today monogamy is one person at a time, and people go around saying, I'm monogamous in all my relationships. And it makes perfect sense to them. So now we are off to look for the one. That one person that I'm going to have to find in the swiping culture when I no longer have a choice just between 3 people in the village, but when I have thousands of options. So many options, how will I know when I'm crippled with a severe case of FOMO, fear of missed opportunity, of knowing that you are the one that's going to be oh so extraordinaire that I'm going to want to delete my apps for you. That I'm actually going to have exclusivity, which now means something very different. It means that I'm going to rein in my sexual freedom after years of sexual nomadism. And I'm going to experience sometimes the hedonic treadmill, by which when I finally find what I want, my expectations and my desire rise to the next level, and off I am again, looking for the next level of satisfaction. So, when today we have infidelity, it actually has become something that it never was. It had nothing to do with love. For most of history, it was basically an imposition on women, monogamy, so that we would know about the patrimony and about whose children I should feed and who will get the cows when I go. But now it has become the grand ambition of love that is being shattered. And therefore, some bizarre thing has happened in modern coupledom by which infidelity has become the leading cause of divorce in most of the world. And the divorce, as you know, if you are in this quest for happiness, you no longer divorce because you are unhappy, but you divorce because you could be happier. So let me play for you another couple that came to me. They are together for 17 years. They are in a terrible sexual rut for a long time. They are both evangelical Christians. They are both survivors of sexual abuse. They have gone around, generally by that time one is not therapist number 1, not in New York and not in Stockholm. And I'm thinking to myself as I read their story, because they write the story the way that people write when they come to see me generally, I need to help them think differently. One session of 3 hours can produce very few things, but one thing it must produce is that the story you come in with cannot be the story that you leave with. Because our stories describe our experience, but they also shape our experience. And often we are stuck in our stories. So I'm thinking, how am I going to give these people a new perspective? Let's listen.
Desire and attraction, that has never...
So while people listen to the stories of others, they sometimes find the vocabulary for the conversations that they need to have. I wanted to create a place where the couple comes back to the center of the village and create a virtual village where we can hear the worries and concerns of others, because modern relationships are more complex than ever. And couples turn to each other for meaning, for transcendence, and for connection. That never changes. And so they need more help in navigating these relationships and their challenges. And I wanted to do my piece of the contribution to help them with those challenges. Thank you.